Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Andrea Glass. I'm an Assistant Chief with Tempe Fire Medical Rescue Department. The order of events for today's briefing will be as follows. Mayor Corey Woods will speak first, followed by Fire Chief Greg Reese, and then we will have General Director of Public Affairs for Union Pacific, Clint Shalbinski. As with previous briefings, please hold all questions until the end of the briefing. Prior to getting started, I would like to take a moment to thank all of our media partners for attending these daily briefings for the past 6 days and reaching out to us to obtain additional information and clarification for anything that we've provided during that 6-day period. During an incident like this, there is a tremendous amount that occurs, and it is critical to get the most current and accurate information out to our community, our business partners, and the public. We appreciate your assistance and patience in broadcasting the messaging throughout this event. This will be our last formal briefing concerning the emergency response to the Salt River Rail Bridge derailment. With that being said, I would like to turn the briefing over to Mayor Corey Woods.
Thank you, Chief Glass. Really appreciate it. I'll try to make this very brief. Just a few things here. I first and foremost just wanted to thank a number of people and a number of groups that really helped to address this situation. You can see what it looked like, and you will see later on just a few days ago, and where it is now is nothing short of amazing, and it's because of the work of all of these folks. First of all, Tempe Fire Medical Rescue, Tempe Police Department, Municipal Utilities, Community Services, SRP, APS, Southwest Gas, ADOT, Valley Metro, the FBI, the NTSB, and other federal, state, county, and local authorities. I wanted to thank all of them tremendously for the work that was done. It is nothing short of incredible. The other thing I wanted to say really quickly too is just thank you to our residents who really heeded the call when we asked folks to try to do their best to stay away from the site during this time, to let the experts do their work in surveying and assessing the damage and doing the cleanup. People were exceptionally good about staying out of the area, not flying drones over the site. And I just have to say thank you to all of our residents and folks who work in downtown Tempe for really heeding the call from our public safety first responders. So wanted to say thank you for that as well. And the last thing, because there's been a number of people in the community who have asked questions regarding the rebuilding of the bridge. I'm very happy to say that I know that officials from Union Pacific have had conversations with our city manager, Andrew Ching, regarding the rebuilding of that bridge. But I'm very happy that they've talked to us about having the opportunity to comment and provide input on what the design of that bridge will look like. Clearly, there's been concern from a lot of residents because it truly is a historic bridge in the city of Tempe. And so they are concerned about not only the function, but how it actually appears. Because while it is their bridge, it's also our city. But I'm very pleased that they have worked arm in arm with our city officials to make sure that residents and the city council and obviously city management have an opportunity to provide their input on how we'll move forward together. So with that said, once again, just wanted to thank everyone and to thank our first responders and all the agencies I thanked before. It's been a mammoth job, but they did an exceptional one, and I'm just so proud to be the mayor of the city of Tempe and proud of the work that they did. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Tempe Fire Medical Rescue Chief, Greg Reese.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm trying to get this. There we go. Thank you again for being here. We truly appreciate the support you've all shown us by keeping our community and those who have been impacted in the loop. We know there's been a lot of questions, probably a great deal of interest. So you being here is extremely integral part of this operation. Communication is key, and so thank you for communicating out what's going on here at the site for us. 6 days ago on July 29th, I reported that Tempe Fire Medical Rescue Department was dispatched at approximately 6:10 in the morning to the reports of a train fire with a possible derailment. What we found once we arrived on scene was a dynamic, challenging scene involving a train derailment with heavy fire to multiple train cars and a partial bridge collapse. An incident like this would be overwhelming to an individual department and could not have been successful in preventing further damage or harm without the assistance of our neighboring departments. We are truly grateful to all of our automatic aid partners in the fire service for responding to our requests for additional alarms and providing any and all resources necessary to extinguish the fire and control the hazardous situation. I have had an opportunity to speak with many of the East Valley chiefs this morning in a conference call, and I did share with them on behalf our appreciation as a city for their assistance. Any of the other departments that responded in those early hours to help mitigate the fire and eventually the hazardous situation that occurred, again, thank you very much. The emergency response portion of this incident has concluded, and the scene will transition into the cleanup, recovery, and rebuild operation conducted by the appropriate persons responsible for those duties. There was a tremendous amount of collaboration and coordination that had to take place to accomplish all of the work we have seen in the past 5 days following the derailment. I would like to recognize the incredible efforts of all of our partners and agencies who have been on the site assisting us with this operation. I know the mayor has thanked some of the agencies. I don't mean to repeat it, but I am going to run through a list that we think is extremely important. Our City of Tempe departments, our own Tempe Fire Medical Rescue emergency personnel who have been working around the clock. To the team that supports those responders, the deputy chiefs, assistant chiefs, thank you so very much. I could not do what I do. We could not do what we do without the commitment and dedication you all have displayed through this event. They have been working around the clock to ensure everybody is communicating, and we work with our partners to get to where we are today. Thank you very much to my team. Other departments within the city that have been here with us. Tempe Police Department, since the very beginning, has stood by us. No matter what we've asked for to keep this scene safe and secure, to deny access, they have done that. They continue to work beside us. I can't thank our police officers out there on the streets in the temperatures that we have had, doing the accountability, ensuring the right people were coming in, and working at every entry point through the hot hours and through the evening hours to ensure the safety of this site. Thank you to our community services, Parks and Rec, municipal utilities, and all the other departments that will start to take over tomorrow. If you have not been engaged, you will be. And thank you very much for everything you do. We'd like to extend a special thank you to Kathleen Dooner and all of those here at the Tempe Center for the Arts. This facility, when I made a phone call to one of our directors, Keith Burke, his team went into action and opened this facility up for us. This facility has been around the clock supporting our operations. Thank you very much for accommodating our emergency operations center. We would have been operating out of the back of pickup trucks, command vans, and everything else. Part of the success of this event has been the team collaborating together in the various rooms in this building, seeing each other, working together, working along beside of each other, not siloed out, and it's because of this facility we've been able to do that. Thank you very much. Some others: Phoenix Fire Department, Union Pacific, Valley Metro, APS, SRP, Southwest Gas, DPS, ADOT, State of Arizona Department of Emergency Military Affairs, the FBI, NTSB, Federal Railroad Administration, Arizona Corporation Commission, EPA, DEQ, ASU, Verizon, and if I missed anybody, I truly am sorry for that. Thank you for being here. If I did miss you, you have played an integral part in this event up to this point. I'd like to thank our mayor and council and our city manager, Andrew Cheng, for the support provided during this very complex incident. We have had the unbelievable support of them. Every time I have updated them, they have communicated their support. They have let us do the work we needed to do. They have believed in all of their departments and the collaboration, and I can't thank you enough for that support. Finally, I'd like to thank all of our surrounding communities, the businesses, and most importantly, our residents for your patience and support as we have addressed multiple hazards over the past 6 days. We understand the interruptions and the frustrations an event like this could cause, and we would like to show you the progress that has been made over the past 5 days following the derailment.
So now what we'd like to do is we are going to share a video with you that will actually go from the start of the incident and play through to where we are at today with 6 days of actually going through this process and various briefings that we've attended. You tend to lose sight of what you actually have seen or what we witnessed at the start of this. These are images from the first day of the incident. And what we're seeing is various ladder pipes and hose lines that are being sprayed from various positions. And it was a very difficult fire to fight, especially in the middle of the town lake. This is one of the lumber cars, and we have utilized the fireboat. This was one of the resources that we used through the automatic aid system. Peoria was kind enough to assist us to be able to spray water in that central part on the lumber car. And as you can see, you have some of that lumber down below on the lake area as a result of some of the damage and some of the fire that occurred. As you pull away firewood or wood, it would start to flare up. And so we would get rekindling, or we would start to get hot spots. These are the images that you guys have seen from above, and this is the area of partial collapse. Again, we have images of our lumber car. Again, it was a significant amount of fire that we had to use aerial ladder devices in order to try to attack and get to. And this is just one of those images that you will see. Again, a tremendous amount of resources. We went up to a 4th alarm fire with hazardous materials. And you can see the various cars to the left. You have some of the hazardous material cars that were still on the bridge on that first day. And again, it took a tremendous amount of effort and resources. We had a lot of personnel that we had to rotate out. As you remember, we did have one firefighter who was treated for heat exhaustion this day. This is an image of the tanker car that we had with the hazardous materials. During that bridge collapse, it had turned over. There was not a crack, but there was, during the turning over process of the derailment, it started leaking from the manhole. And so that was something that we had to address when it came to the hazardous materials. And then later that night, we were able to upright that car. Going into day 2. So second day, we got images from overhead. This is from drone footage that we had from our police officers so that you can see the damage from overhead. You can see very clearly the collapse on the right-hand side of the screen. And these are the tanker cars that did contain the cyclohexanon that we've had concerns about during this process, and that has hazardous material. We also have the area that we have demolition. So again, this is just another overhead shot so you can see the actual damage over Rio Salado. And this has been of major concern for us. So during that day 2 period, really focusing on trying to pull that debris away. As we proceed into day 3, you can see significant progress in actually pulling the debris away from the Rio Salado area. You can see also that there has been significant improvement with the trail cars, or with the rail cars. So as we went through, they started taking the rail cars off to the north, and they were able to get the majority of the rail cars off to the north. The only rail car that was left on was the lumber car, and it was decided with agreement between the EPA, Arizona Department of Environmental Quality, and Union Pacific. The easiest and safest way was to put the lumber in the water, surrounded and buoyed in, so that we could collect it. So a tremendous amount of work proceeded as we went through to clear this site. What you see on Rio Salado is essentially grain or cornmeal, also very difficult to clean up. And then we went into day 4 operations. During our day 4 operations is when we started to focus our attention on trying to get the offloading of the 2 tank cars that had the cyclohexanon. Up to the top of the screen, you can see the 3 cylinders, or the 3 tank cars. 2 of those 3 had the cyclohexanon in it. And so that was the area that we were focusing our operations in, trying to get the offloading of the chemicals. During this time frame is when we actually had another incident, and we had that leak that we talked about with no more than 10 gallons that was dropped onto that dirt area, and that was during the process of twisting open the hose and releasing it. We did transport one person who was later released, just had a chemical exposure. The other person was treated and released on scene. Day 5 of the operation, the demolition. So obviously pretty impressive. This is the one where we really want to express our gratitude when it comes to our partners and the demolition experts. As you can see, this is a significant event. It's a very precise event because they wanted to keep the integrity of the rest of the bridge structure. So where they put their charges, the small precision charges was exact. You can see we still have the pillars present that are upholding. There's what's called cribbing that was placed to help support the bridge falling down and not impacting the rest of the structure. And you'll see this a few times. They're gonna go ahead and play through the demolition a few times. Some of it will be in slow motion so you can actually see the charges that were present. But you can see a significant amount come down. Again, where those two gentlemen are is that cribbing that I was talking about. So I'll let you take a look. And as you can see, there was a lot of shifting, but everything also fell into the center, and that was the whole purpose. When talking with the demolition experts, they did discuss how this went exactly as it was planned, in that they wanted it to shift and then go down in on itself and drop straight down. This shows the charges, and they were able to capture this as they were doing the video footage. So there was a tremendous amount of lumber that was on those two cars. The reason why they did not get the lumber cars off prior to doing the demolition of the actual bridge was because of the damage that was done during the actual derailment had caused some twisting, and it would be more dangerous to try to cut those and have a potential injury or even a death if one of the workers had tried to do that. This is this morning. So this is why we wanted to show you the video from yesterday where that demolition occurred. This is now this morning where you have the two pillars that are still in place. The rest of the bridge is intact as it should be. And then they're able to rebuild that section that was demolished for the rest of the bridge. So a significant amount of work has been done to clear the way. I know it's been 5 days since the actual incident, 6 including the incident itself. But these are some images pre-yesterday, and then it goes back to show you the cleanup to today. So again, a significant amount of work has been done by the Union Pacific, also by the various contractors who've been assigned and who've been working on this scene to try to clean the scene up as safely, as quickly as possible and get our city back to operational, try to get the Tempe Beach Park open and operational, and also the lake open and operational as soon as possible, but also doing so in a safe manner. So we wanted to share this video with you. We will have it available on a YouTube link for you also to look at with no sound so that you can use it as you would like. So with that, I would like to introduce Union Pacific's Clint Shablitsky so that he can advise on next steps for what we can expect within the city of Tempe.
Great, thank you, Andrea. I want to start by just reiterating the thanks that were given previously. We wouldn't be where we are today without our public partners and all the support that we've received. But I also want to take the time to thank the women and men of Union Pacific Railroad. All of our contractors out here have just done a tremendous job in tremendous heat, getting out there, doing the job that needed to be done, doing it safely, doing it quickly. Our goal is very similar to the cities and the residents. We want to clean this up. We want to get the railroad back in service. We want to reopen Town Lake. We want to reopen the park and the roadway. Activities today, those last few pictures, what you've seen there, look quite a bit different than what it looks like outside right now. We've done quite a bit of work since those pictures this morning. We've been clearing the area, removing all the cars, all the debris from the bridge. All of that has been moved out of the way and is making room for our construction crews, our bridge construction crews. They have been constructing pads for 2 cranes that will go up. I think one of those cranes is up right now. The other is being constructed as we speak. Those 2 cranes will be critical in replacing the bridge structure. After those cranes are in place, we're going to start the installation process. That's getting the bridge supports put in place throughout that entire work area. At this time, I don't have an estimated completion date. We don't know how long it will take. All I can commit to is that we'll continue doing this as quickly as possible, as safely as possible. And once we get in there and start constructing and start putting the bridge supports in, every day will tell us more and more information about how quickly, how efficiently we can get this bridge back in service. And then lastly, I just want to thank the neighboring residents, the community here in Tempe. They've been great so far, and I understand they're dealing with a lot of noise, a lot of disturbances. I anticipate that will continue as the construction process proceeds forward until we're done with this project and we have the bridge back in place. With that, I think we're taking questions.
So one thing I would like to reiterate before proceeding with questions is that, again, all hazards have been mitigated and removed or no longer of concern on this site, that the site will be turned over to regulatory agencies and those conducting investigations, including environmental quality, as well as any other items that need to be completed still. And so moving forward, when it comes to any questions or concerns, please go to those specific regulatory agencies for questions or any other additional follow-up, barring the questions we have today. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions. Yes. I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
The cause, the investigation.
Yes, thank you for the question. The question was about the cause. The cause of this derailment, the investigation is still ongoing. We're looking at a number of factors. We've got the inspection report from July 9th that we've reported, details from the previous derailment on June 26th, and then the derailment from last Wednesday. All of that's going into our investigation, and the results have not been determined yet.
Who's responsible for that investigation? Who's leading it?
It's Union Pacific in coordination with other entities.
Is the FBI still involved in this, or are they
So the question was if the FBI was still involved with this, and I believe that they have concluded, but I cannot verify that. We can follow up with that, but I do believe that they have concluded their portion. Stand by. So we will be bringing up Assistant Police Chief Sherry Burlingame will come up to the stage to assist, and she'll be able to answer your question for you.
The FBI did conclude their portion of the investigation, and they turned that back over to the Tempe Police Department, and we are in the process of writing ours up, and will be concluded as well. Not at this time, no.
So the question is about the environmental concerns and folks in the community still being concerned if whether or not it went into the water or with it being on the ground. So that has been turned over, the jurisdiction has been turned over to the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality. City of Tempe continues to assist with sampling, as does the EPA. We have no reason to believe at this point it has gone into the water. There is no indication it has gone into the lakes. We do have indication that it did go into a storm drain that went to the river bottom. That's a dry river bottom to the west of the dam. And they have done some preliminary sampling there. They are still waiting for those results, and they will continue a sampling plan moving forward. We do not have a time frame on that, so I would ask that follow-up questions be referred to the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality. I would what's that?
If you want to do that, I know I can speak on behalf of the cities coming in once you have opened it up. Go ahead.
So the question was about the roadway, Rio Salado under the railroad bridge. It is anticipated that it would be closed while there are construction activities on both the north side and the south side and above that roadway.
Once they've completed the work they need to do and they give the city of Tempe the go-ahead to utilize that roadway, we will then turn to our own city engineers. They have been out today looking at the site. Tomorrow, all departments within the city will start to take on the workload that they now have. What we did was we had asked all departments in the city to hold off until we mitigated the hazards down there and it was a safe environment. So we will work on with our own city department, our own engineering. They will go down there and they will work to determine what needs to be done to open up the sidewalk, the roadway, everything safely for the public to go back down there.
How many people do you have working on the site right now? Contractors, Union Pacific employees, et cetera?
The question was about how many employees and contractors we have working on the site. I don't have a specific number. That's something I can get as a follow-up. It's dozens. It's not hundreds.
Do you guys have a cost estimate yet for repairs?
The question was about, is there a cost estimate for replacement and repairs? And at this time, there's not.
Is there any situation you would look at, depending on how long this takes, repairing or restoring the Western Arizona Union Pacific guy?
The question was about Western Arizona's tracks that are out of service. I'm sorry, maybe give it a little more context.
Well, those have been out of service for a while. You guys own them. Would there be any circumstance or scenario where you would repair those because it might take less time than repairing the bridge?
Okay, I think I understand. So the Union Pacific network runs west of Phoenix and continues on until it meets back up with our main line heading to Southern California. That line has been out of service for a number of years. It was looked at as an option. It wasn't an option that took a reasonable amount of time to put back in service as opposed to replacing the bridge. So the question was about the bridge and the look of the bridge. So we heard very early on from the city that it was important to maintain the bridge, the truss bridge look, and we're doing everything we can over Town Lake to make sure that stays the case. So we're going to be repairing all the spans. They're called truss spans over Town Lake, but the span that was taken down and the span that was damaged in the derailment, those will look different. Those will look like a traditional railroad bridge over a roadway, just like we would install anywhere else on our network.
Okay, any other questions for today?
So those would be directly investigation questions too from this point on.
So we would ask that you refer investigative questions back to Union Pacific, and then they can have that coordinated effort for investigations. For anything having to do with the environmental quality, we'd ask that you refer to ADEQ, and we can provide their information as well moving forward so that you have that. And then we also would ask for updates when it comes to bridge construction or anything that's going on around the city. We also have a website which is www.tempe.gov/railbridge, and that will provide the most current information and updates on where we are for the community and those surrounding us on the updates on the bridge and the rebuild of it. Absolutely. It's www.tempe.gov/railbridge. I'm sorry, railroad bridge. My apologies. /railroad bridge. So that is something, I'm sorry, the question was the businesses, the kayakers, and some of the smaller boating businesses, keeping that communication open. Up until this point, we've still been in the emergency response operational mode. And so what we're trying to do now is reach out and make sure we get timelines on when those can reopen and then communicate that to them. So that is in the works moving forward, but we don't have definitive timelines yet. So we want to make sure we have those prior to giving them an answer or letting them know when they can reopen.
As far as reopening Beach Park, are we talking days, weeks, months?
So the question was about Tempe Beach Park and how close we can open, or will that be days or months? That's something, again, that's being discussed. We're trying to close the footprint and bring it in closer so that we can open the beach park to the east of the railroad bridge. So that is something that is being worked on over the next couple days to see if we can shorten the footprint and get that back open.
So while I stated I didn't have a timeline for the bridge construction, it's not months. So we're more on the days and weeks, and it all depends on how quickly we can move through the construction process over the next several days to better understand how long it will ultimately take to get everything in place.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, again, we really appreciate all of your assistance in getting communication out to our community. Thank you so much for being here today.